Stories are defined by their goals. Every movie has one. Lord of the Rings, destroy the ring. Whiplash, become the next Charlie Parker. Star Wars, defeat the Empire and end the titular Star War. Name a movie, and there's a goal, or at least a destination, physical or figurative. Except when there isn't one. What does a movie become when there isn't a stated goal by the characters? What's the point? I recently watched 2 movies without a goal. Wolf Children, a story about a mother raising her 2 werewolf children, and Grave of the Fireflies, a story about 2 siblings living in Japan during the fallout of World War II. And I learned something about cinema in the process. When there isn't a goal, the story can often rise above the characters, dialogue, world, and even the art, and become something greater. Wolf Children is a damn good movie. It handles themes of loss, belonging, motherhood, identity, and a classic coming-of-age story, and it manages all of this seamlessly to create an emotionally complex story that can resonate with just about anyone. The premise involves a young woman, Hana, who has 2 children with a wolf man, but shortly after their birth, he dies tragically while hunting for his new family. She is left with 2 wolf children who she has no idea how to raise, and ends up moving to the Japanese countryside in an attempt to restart her life. With little money and no experience living outside of the city, the only so-called goal is just to become self-sufficient. She learns to farm with the help of others who live in the area and does her best to raise the children. There's a beginning and end to the arc, although they are loose, but the story quickly shifts to the 2 children as they start growing up. They are faced with a choice. Do they commit to being a wolf or try to coexist with humanity and ignore their animalistic side? The concept isn't novel in storytelling, but rather than a straight line as most stories choose to use, the story is made up of dozens of small dots on a timeline that spans years. It's a series of events that come to define Yuki and Ame as they grow up. It may seem at times like there is no destination or even a sense of purpose for the viewers. There are times you may watch and wonder why we are being shown these events, as they often seem irrelevant. But these snippets of life are what create some of the most well-realized characters ever put to the screen in just under 2 hours. But why do these characters need to exist? Is it not more satisfying to see them achieve something? Or the lack of a stated goal isn't the same as a lack of any goal. The story may seem directionless, but there is a destination. The 2 children, Yuki and Ame, have essentially opposite arcs about finding their place in the world while in limbo between humans and nature. So the seemingly random events are the major contributors to what shaped them into the people who they are at the end of the movie. These shifts in identity are slow enough that it feels natural, but both Yuki and Ame are completely different people by the end of the movie. So the result is characters who have become both unrecognizable from their former selves, but also still true to their original characters. The lack of a concrete goal allows the movie to focus on character development that is difficult to achieve in some long-running TV shows and books. It allows its messages to come through crystal clear about belonging and the like. It's also more relatable, as a lot of the events are common enough so that most viewers can relate to at least part of it. Moving to a new home, being a single parent, getting stuck at school during a storm. It's these connections to the audience that allows Wolf Children to resonate so well with the viewers. So the goal of the movie is not for the characters to find an artifact or defeat a villain. Instead, the goal is to convince the audience that these moving drawings are real people, and maybe teach them a thing or 2 along the way. On a darker note, I also watched Grave of the Fireflies. Most people know Grave of the Fireflies as that one really dark movie. At least that's what I'd heard before watching it for the first time. But that's not exactly what I got. Instead, what I found was a surprisingly optimistic movie full of happy moments and 2 siblings just existing with each other. It's a movie about love despite the backdrop of devastating war and hatred. Even the darkest moments are supported by hope and the idea of moving on, emotionally and spiritually. Similar to Wolf Children, there is a lack of an obvious goal besides just surviving. Finding food is often the main priority of Saita and Setsuko. When something dark does happen, such as the death of their mother, the sadness doesn't last. Instead of a holy grail, they're seeking something greater. Meaning. When Japan crumbles apart around them, they are forced to face the possibility that there isn't room for them in the world anymore. Maybe they were supposed to die during the initial bombing with their mother. But the truth that they will soon learn is that it doesn't matter if they should have died, because they are still alive, and what they make of it is all that matters. They are without parents, mistreated by their aunt, and without any support from any of the other townspeople. That leaves them with each other and no one else. But unlike the fireflies in their tent, Saita and Setsuko are free, bound only by each other. And it's that bond that keeps them going for a long time. Saita's bravery and optimism, and Setsuko's loyalty and heart would be useless without the other to keep them sane. This is the bond that carries the movie, so much so that it's decidedly characters first, plot second. With poor writing, this would result in a boring and confusing movie. But Grave of the Fireflies is written naturally and fluently portrays the characters almost effortlessly. These two movies are proof that movies don't need destinations to be complete and satisfying experiences, and changed my outlook on life more than any normal movie might. They are odysseys that are more than their pieces, because put together, they are true works of art.